Hello everyone, it is the late discovery gamer, which does not mean that I'm dead, just late to the party for some of these games, and we're back in Slime Rancher. And as I promised, I was going to look through the Slimepedia off screen, and I figured there's so many well-written texts here, but I know that a lot of people don't care for that sort of thing, so I decided I'm just going to go through the Slimepedia, look at the things that we have discovered so far, and I'm going to do an episode just on that, and then if you don't care for that at all, you can come back to episode 3 where we continue the actual exploration. It's currently night anyway, so we're not supposed to go outside, so let's have a look. So upon checking the tutorials, I found a couple things that I think I missed. So for example, this health and energy thing here, these two stats down there. So basically, I'm assuming if we run out of health, we also get knocked out and we have to sleep for at least 12 hours. But it says your health will automatically restore after not taking damage for a period of time, so that's good. And energy will be automatically restored after not using energy for a period of time. So this isn't something we have to farm, it's just there. And that's good to know. Here's an interesting fact. This kind of explains what happened. Hungry slimes will always find a way out of their corrals, so I'm guessing there's no foolproof way to keep them in there. That's good to know. And then feeding slimes, here is an interesting fact. Each slime has a particular diet. Most prefer either fruit, veggies, or meat. When a slime eats, it produces a plort. We already know that. However, most slimes have a favorite food. When a slime eats its favorite food, it produces double plorts. Now, that is some really useful information. Yeah, and I think the plort market is sort of explained. So upon looking at the slimes, we currently have the pink, rock, and tabby, and then down here, we looked at that in the last episode, the largo and the tar, our nemesis. So let's look at the three slimes here, actually. The pink slime, their coral hue is scientifically proven to be the color of cheer. Yeah, they look nice. So, and this is interesting, diet, fruit, veggies, and meat. So according to the tutorials, all of them. And they don't have a favorite food, so I guess it's sort of the base slime, so to speak. Slimology. Pink slimes are the most common slimes found on the far range. The cheerful, docile, and the easiest of all slimes to ranch. A pink slime will eat anything you put in front of it, though they have no favorite food, and their plorts are the least valuable of all slimes. Rancher risks. Not much to worry about with a pink slime. They're soft, squishy, very happy to be around a rancher, and found all over the range. Now that's good. But because of this, a rancher won't go far without finding a few pink plorts, which can lead to largos, and then, so we already know what happens then. Plortonomics. This is interesting. These are some fun facts about the plorts. Pink plorts are an excellent multi-purpose generic substance used to manufacture everything from food products to household cleaners. Okay, so you're cleaning with slime. That's gonna be nasty. Well, I guess there's those keyboard cleaning slimes for in between the keys and stuff. But food, okay. All over Earth, people are eating burgers, sweetening their coffees, or scrubbing their floors with pink plort products. That's some serious versatility. That also reminds me of a certain burger chain and their not meat on their burgers. Okay. And then we have the rock slime, and these dudes look grumpy. They already say they're totally mental. Now, this one only eats veggies and have a favorite food. It's called the heartbeat. I don't think we found that one yet. So, rock slimes earned their name from the rocky crown of sharp spikes atop their slimy bodies. Duh. But their affection for minerals doesn't end with their appearance. Rock slimes are strict vegetarians, favoring the satisfying crunch of the heartbeat most of all. The dangers of a rock slime should be fairly obvious. Their rocky crown is sharp enough to pierce straight through a rancher's boots. But it's not all about watching where you're stepping, as these rocks are always rolling. Okay, Rolling Stones pun in there. When you see a rock slime revving up for a tumble, it's best to get out of the way. Okay, good to know. Rock plorts are prized for being a key component in the production of blue metal, an amazing alloy that's stronger than titanium and lighter than plastic. Because of its amazing strength, blue metal is often a key component in the hulls of light-speed-capable starships, synthetic appendages, and protective holophone cases. Okay, so this is actually a useful resource rather than eating burgers. And then we have the tabby slime, which also... Oh no, it eats meat. The rock slime is veggies. And the favorite is a stony hen, which I think we also haven't seen yet. Tabby slimes share many curious similarities to domesticated house cats of Earth. With their perky ears, striped backs, and swaying tails, you'd almost mistake them for a true feline if they weren't like a blubber of slime, I guess. If they weren't made... Oh, okay. If they weren't made entirely of gooey slime, of course. Yeah. You guessed what I was thinking. A tabby slime generally doesn't mean any harm to a rancher, but like their spiritual earth cat cousins, often cause a great deal of chaos anyway. Tabby slimes love to steal things they don't eat, like fruits and veggies, resulting in lots of unintended largo transformations on the range. Okay, so I guess it's the equivalent of a yarn ball for these. Plortonomics. Tabby plorts are a key ingredient in a variety of performance-enhancing products that grant the consumer a surge of the tabby slime's signature energy and exuberance, okay? And while athletes the world over take them to gain an edge, prolonged use often results in uncontrollable butt wiggles. Another less desirable signature of the tabby slime. Okay, see, I know a lot of people don't care about this, but I think this is really lovely, and you just know that the creators of the game spent a lot of time and had a lot of fun writing this. So, you know, I want to do the game justice and look at this stuff too. So, yeah, I'm one of those guys. Okay, let's look at resources. We already found the carrot. Veggie, yeah, I mean, I guess it's a carrot, right? The humble carrot was brought to the Far range because they're easy to grow and nutritious. Most ranchers swear by them as their handy portable snack, promote good night vision, and when juiced are second only to coffee as the perfect morning beverage. Ah, I love me some carrot juice in the morning. Probably hot, right? Ugh, nasty. Okay, and then this is actually the same for every one of these resources. Deposit a carrot into a garden's depositor and you'll have a large carrot crop of your very own. So basically what I'm guessing is we can grow any resource we find. Next is a pogo fruit. Obviously a fruit. Pogo fruit are common sight almost anywhere on the Far range, tasting a bit like a peach, which is delicious, by the way. They're most notable for having their trademark spots both on and under the skin. Okay, I would love to get my hands on that. And then we also have a couple chicken thingies here. We have, actually, let's start with the hen, I think. Yeah. So this is then a type meat. So we already have one of each type. We have a vegetable in the carrot. We have, a fruit in the pogo fruit, and then meat 3 times actually. Yeah, and then also, by the way, there currently isn't a slime that favors these. So I'm guessing this is sort of the base thingy for each category. Hen hens are a special breed of chicken bred to survive the climate of the Far range. While appearing more or less like a big chicken, these burly birds are much more adept at fending for themselves, making them ideal for ranchers who might otherwise be distracted by a few hundred hungry slimes. Okay, and then this is interesting because we can actually also, farm chickens. Hen hens in close proximity to roosters, which is the next one up, will periodically lay eggs that produce chickadoos, which we also already found. However, keeping too many hens or roosters in close proximity makes them anxious, and egg production will come to a halt. Savvy ranchers with an understanding of the complex nature of chicken romance, let's go, always keep their coops from exceeding 12 grown chickens. Nice. And then we have the rooster, which is also meat, and this one is actually a favorite of the hunter slime, which I have no clue where that one will come in. Roosters are the alpha birds of the Far range and half the equation required to breed chickens on the ranch. However, roosters are rarer than any hen, making them a great find anytime one is discovered, so I should have actually held on to them. To acquire a rooster, either find one out on the range or breed them on the ranch. Any type of chickadoo has a small chance of growing into a rooster. Okay, some ranchers believe that these odds increase if you greet the Rooster King's crown at sunrise with an enthusiastic "Good morning." Nice. Now this reminds me of Good Mythical Morning. For those of you who are also watching. Okay. So, this is the same text as with the hens. And then we have chickadoo, and this says future me, which I just find diabolical. But it's not slime food, actually. So chickadoos are baby chicken that will eventually grow into a hen or, more rarely, a rooster. Chickadoos of all varieties will never be eaten by slimes. Some believe this is because slimes are too kind-hearted to do such a thing. Others believe it's because chickadoos don't yet have enough meat on their bones. Wow. So, I'm going to give our slime friends the benefit of the doubt here and say say they're too kind-hearted. Yeah, keep chickadoos in a safe place and they'll eventually grow into a hen or roostro. Now, interestingly enough, though, if we look at the slimes here, you know, this says stony hen. So I'm guessing because they mentioned different types of chickadoos that this isn't a stony hen. You know, there's actually different types of chicken and chickadoos, but apparently the roostro works for all of them is what I'm getting. And then there's a whole lot of resources to find. That's going to be crazy. All right, then we have the ranch. This is all the stuff that we can sort of buy. So we already have a corral, you know, it is used to keep slimes on a ranch. The open air corrals are designed for maximum slime satisfaction with the rich soil of the range beneath them and its expansive sky above them. So this is basically like free range produce. Slimes will remain perfectly happy within corrals so long as they are fed regularly. And yeah, I can shoot through the barrier, that's good. And then there's a bunch of other things, and I looked at it, and you can actually check it out. If you press E here, you can get upgrades for these corrals. There's a bunch of different things. So high walls, you know, higher corral walls ensure that even the bounciest of slimes will have difficulty escaping. Now that's going to be useful. Then we have music box. Plays a soothing tune that greatly reduces slime agitation. Also nice. And then an air net. Is a force barrier that covers the top of a corral. It can take a few hits before needing to recharge. So I'm guessing combine high walls with an air net and then you actually have a somewhat watertight or escape-proof corral, so to speak. Solar shield. A solar shield will encase a corral in a dim shade, protecting slimes sensitive to light. So we actually have to really manage these corrals depending on what kind of slimes go in here. And then this is awesome. I really like this. Plort collector. A plort collector will vacuum up 2 types of plorts in a corral at regular intervals, depositing them into a storage tank so long as space is available. So I was wondering how many times I would have to get in here and vacuum up half the slimes to get to the plorts. That answers it, and because there's also 2 in there in that collector, that also means it works for largos. That is nice. Then we have an auto feeder. We'll drop food into the corral at regular intervals, just remember to keep it stocked. So this is also really great. I'm assuming when I'm out exploring and the food runs out, these guys will still be happy because the auto feeder works, and then there's the demolish option. So yeah, so this is great, you know, there's a bunch of stuff here that we can do. Now we have a coop to keep chickens in their place. Prevents the uprising. Though many ranchers simply let their chickens roam the ranch, a coop is the tool of the serious poultry producer. Coops keep hens and roosters close, allowing for maximum egg-laying potential. Just remember to avoid crowding the coop. Chickens won't reproduce when in close proximity to more than a dozen other hens or roosters. But give them room and watch them love boom. Watch the love boom, sorry. And then there's also some updates here, or upgrades, sorry. High walls, okay, I guess, yeah, great for keeping chickens in and hungry slimes out. Spring grass attracts scuttlebugs that chickens just love to eat. With their bellies full, hens will produce eggs twice as fast. And then we have Vitamizer. The very latest in advanced poultry tech, the Vitamizer bathes the chickens in Vita-rays. Okay, allowing them to grow into healthy hens and roosters twice as fast. Okay, so this boosts production as well. And then we have Garden. We currently don't have enough stats, so we're going to buy those next episode. The gardens used by ranchers use advanced technology to rapidly grow clones of fruits and veggies in a natural, though greatly sped up way. By placing a sample into the replicator, the garden soil is instantly populated by a fruit tree or veggie patch that will keep producing harvests until removed. Nice! And then we have more upgrades here. Nutrient soil contains compost from the moss blanket, not sure what that is, and minerals from the indigo quarry, also not sure what that is. Makes crops always yield the maximum harvest. Okay, that is awesome. So, sprinkler, kind of self-explanatory, ensures that your crops are always watered, making them grow twice as fast. And then there's a scare slime. A scare slime is a stuffed tar model designed to keep wandering slimes away from your crops. Okay, simple but terrifying. And then there's Miracle Mix. This special mix greatly increases the time it takes for ripe fruits and veggies to rot, so long as they are touching the garden soil. So they can rot. So I'm guessing we would have to move them to the auto feeder then, or feed them directly. And then we have a silo. Yeah, you can't take it with you when you go, so put it in storage. That is awesome, especially given that we already explored the limits of our vac pack last episode. So a silo lets a rancher neatly store plorts and resources in a handy, compact unit. Simply shoot into an available silo port to fill it or vac it to retrieve the items within. A clean ranch is a happy ranch, and we can add additional storages. So I'm guessing we can't put slimes in there. It says plorts and resources, which, you know, this is probably not. And then we already looked at the incinerator, but it explains what we have to do here. An incinerator will instantly burn anything it touches into ash and then burn that ash into nothing. It's an excellent solution for eliminating a tar outbreak or for simply disposing of unwanted slimes if you're a terrible, heartless monster. Yeah, we're probably not going to do that. And then we have the ash trough. An ash trough allows you to collect the ash of incinerated food at its base, which is eaten exclusively by fire slimes. Oh, so that might be a fire slime. It's gross. Well, if you like ashes, sure. And then we have a pond. A pond gives you a source of fresh water on the ranch. That's good. Also in the case of a tar outbreak. And you can use for watering gardens, calming slimes in a corral, defeating tar, there it is, or giving your puddle slimes a place to hang out and feed. Okay, so there's a puddle slime. And then the plort market. The plort market is a network of buyers and sellers of plorts across the galaxy. Ranchers use plort market machines on their ranch to send plorts to the market for sale. Ranchers are paid immediately when depositing plorts at the plort's current market value. Okay. Plort market values fluctuate, and some of the more savvy ranchers will hoard certain plorts for days when sale prices are high, especially rare plorts. Okay, that makes sense. And then I'm guessing these are the regions of our ranch here, right? Because, I mean, this is the ranch. So the overgrowth, I'm guessing these are the ones we haven't unlocked yet. The overgrowth is an expansion to the ranch that is covered in moss and tall grasses. The thicket it creates allows for fruits and veggies to grow naturally, so no need for gardens then, and attracts the occasional wild chicken, making it an ideal space for a rancher that wants to let their slimes roam more freely. Wait, I can actually own free-range slimes? Which one was the overgrowth? No, that one was probably the grotto. Was it this one? Oh no, this was the lab, right? Yeah, this is the lab. So yeah, let's quickly read the lab. The lab is an expansion to the ranch that houses a barn containing Hobson's old slime science workshop. Once unlocked, the lab will allow you to fabricate dozens of useful gadgets using slime science. It is recommended that only more experienced ranchers unlock the lab, as slime science requires a great many resources and lots of new bugs to fully master. I mean, just unlocking it costs 10,000 new bugs, and we're currently at 79. So yeah. I think that sort of regulates itself. And then this is the grotto, I believe. Learn more. A dark and gloomy cavern above the sea, and likely first chapter to that novel of yours. Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, and a likely first chapter to that novel of yours. The grotto is an expansion to the ranch set inside a slightly spooky cave that allows ranchers to care for light-sensitive slimes without the need for a solar shield. Never has a phosphor slime felt so liberated. Oh, beautiful. Okay, and then we have the docks. I'm not sure where they are, actually, because I checked, and, you know, just to walk over, that one over there is the overgrowth. And this is as far as it will let me go. So I'm not sure where the docks are. You know, yeah, if we go back here, the docks. The docks is an expansion to the ranch that repurposes a cozy little lookout along the waterfront. This expansion offers a few extra ranch patches, flanked on several sides with fishing nets. The nets can be used to temporarily catch escaped slimes, or as a means of creating physical collages of slimes because it's fun. Okay! I guess you can really use these slimes for anything. It also houses a natural wellspring, allowing you to fill your tank with unlimited fresh water, or for a few puddle slimes that prefer a natural place to soak. This is going to be awesome, if I can find it, because I haven't. And then this is the world. And yeah, we currently only have these 3 ones, so we read through those. And that is all the Slimepedia entries. So there's quite a lot to do in the game. We can build a lot of different things. We can unlock these regions. We can upgrade pretty much everything we own. We can create awesome Largos, and then we ultimately make a profit selling the plorts, and with that we get even more stuff to unlock. And we also heard about a bunch of new slimes. And spoiler alert, I mean, I'm guessing these are all the slime types there are. So currently we have the pink slime, we have the rock slime, and the tabby slime. This one, I'm not sure yet what it is, but it is unlocked. and then this one is some sort of gold plort. And there's a bunch more, and I think, just to recap, we heard about, I think it was a hunter slime that eats roostros, you know, because I just thought of that because I have one. Was it hunter slimes? Let's check. Yeah, hunter slimes, okay, not sure. And then we heard of a fire slime, I'm guessing that's this one, with the flames, and then a puddle slime that loves to be in a pond. And then there's a bunch more that I have no clue what they are. Okay. So yeah, but that is going to do it for this shorter episode, reading through all the Slimepedia. So I think I have a pretty good idea of what to do. It's a really good mixture of exploring and making awesome slimes. Yeah. And if you watched this entire video, thank you for being so patient and loving the game and loving the awesome people writing all of these cool facts. I'm going to read through the occasional wiki pages as we find new stuff. But yeah, I think that just about covers the most things we receive in text. So next episode, we'll go back to exploring. And until then, see you and have fun.